If you could just hold your questions till the end. I know Chris Digregorio of Ameriprise, he's going to make it a little more interactive. So obviously, if there's a time to ask questions, you could ask them at that point. But if there's any questions you have throughout anybody's speech, presentation, or whatever, if you could just reserve them till the end, that'd be greatly appreciated. And again, like I said, we're going to have the drinks outside, and everyone's going to be outside for a little networking. And if you don't want to ask a question in here, you're more than welcome to ask any question you want outside and speak to anybody as you want outside. So now, if we will, I'm going to bring up Mr. Chris Digregorio of Ameriprise Financial. I know he's been to a lot of your offices if you're with Keller Williams. He's made presentations to you guys, and he's a financial planner. If you've ever seen me present with him, I'm a big advocate of financial planning. I do believe in what he does, and it doesn't matter if you have $100 in the bank or $100 million in the bank. Everybody needs a financial plan, and you may not realize it right now, but you may not need it to the degree that a lot of people who have $100 million need it, but at least you get something set up and you get on the right path. And just to have a conversation with him doesn't really cost you anything to start. So just to give you a little background on Chris, he's 23 years in the business, in the financial business. He joined Ameriprise 3.5 years ago. In that 3.5 years, he's built a team of 23 people. I think that's 1 year for every year he's been in the business. He's met one person. So he's built a team of 23 people. He has financial advisors. He has asset managers, estate attorneys, CPAs, and a full operational staff. He's right upstairs in the Bellworks. I know he'll come out to you. He makes appointments. But one thing that I wanted to touch on with him is that he won the 2022 Ameriprise Client Service Award. He's done it 3 years in a row, and he's one of only 300 advisors in the Ameriprise world that has done it 3 years in a row. So without further ado, I'd like to bring up Mr. Digregorio, and there's going to be a test. If you could spell his name right, you get a prize at the end.
Thank you, everybody. Glad to be here. So this is the VIP group today, all right? Yeah. All right, so I want to start off by thanking everybody coming today, all right? Spending what is most valuable, that is your time, all right? I'm going to be reading off some notes today, so don't mind me, but we're going to get some audience participation going in a second. So I want to talk to you a little about my personal life and what got me into the industry. So my mother died at 54 years old from cancer. All right, my father died at 63 years old. He was an alcoholic. All right. My father, at the prime of his life, I remember this when I was young, worked in the Fulton Fish Market when the Fulton Fish Market was the Fulton Fish Market, right? Right. And I remember he used to talk about money a little bit. I was young. It was hard to remember. At that point, he was making $250,000 a year, which in today's day and age, that's about $1 million a year is what he was making, okay? My father tried, but he never had any guidance. His father died very young as well, and when he passed away in a trailer in South Carolina, broke. Actually, he was so broke, okay, that I got a call one day from the cemetery where my mother was buried, and they told me that the payments for his plot next to my mom's was not being paid. And I had to actually pay that. And that way they could be, of course, buried together when he passed. The reason I tell the story is not to feel bad for me. The reason I tell the story is I think that's when my passion for starting to learn about money started. It's interesting how we get into the things that we get into. And the reason I say this is because I really wanted to learn where he went wrong. And I could think about a lot of things, a lot of ways, but I kind of wish he had people like me, when he had that kind of wealth, and be in those, hills and valleys. So, just out of curiosity, does everybody know the number one thing in life right now? There's 3 major things in life. Could everybody tell me the first one? Anybody? Family's up there. Health is number 1, right? If you don't have health, you don't have anything. Anybody ever read Steve Jobs' memoirs when he was passing away? 56 years old as a billionaire. You did, sir? Mm-hmm. Okay. So I want to read you just a little quick thing about his memoirs, because if we don't have health, we don't have anything in this world, all right? I found it, to me, very moving, all right, because here's a man that had everything, all right? Every phone that we carry was a result of his hard work, all right? He wrote, "I reached the pinnacle of success in the business world. In others' eyes, my life is the epitome of success. However, aside from work, I have little joy. In the end, my wealth is only a fact of the life that I am accustomed to. At this moment, lying on my bed and recalling my life, I realized that all the recognition and wealth that I took so much pride in having paled and became meaningless in the face of death. You can employ someone to drive a car for you, make money for you, but you cannot have someone bear your sickness for you. Material things lost can be found or replaced, but there is one thing that can never be replaced when it's lost, whichever stage you're in right now. With time, you will feel the day that the curtain falls. Treasure love for your family, love for your spouse's love for your spouse, love for your friends, treat yourself well, and cherish others. Without health, there isn't anything. Somebody said happiness as one of the, sir, Tom, you said happiness? Happiness is definitely the second, right? I've known a lot of wealthy people in 23 years in doing what I do, and some of them are not happy. In fact, some of them are miserable, all right? So money does not buy happiness, all right? But the third, anybody wants to guess? You got health, you got happiness, and what is the third? Anybody? We're in the right seminar for it. Wealth, right? Financial stability, right? So they say money doesn't always buy happiness. I would agree and disagree on that statement, all right? The reason I do is because although money doesn't guarantee happiness and goes a little backwards on what I just said a minute ago, money can give you the option to get better health care, okay? Money can give you alternatives. So I want to tell you a little bit about a story about a client that I have right now. She's 84 years old. I've known her for 20-something years. She's one of my first clients. She took me on when I was a kid. I'm 50 years old right now. So think about that. She put her trust and her money with a 27-year-old at the time. She's 84 years old right now. And she is, last year, about a year and a half ago, she was diagnosed with stage 4 pancreatic cancer. Okay, do you know the chances of surviving stage 4 pancreatic cancer? Not good, okay? When I read about it, I was in tears, all right? Because this is a woman that I've come to love over the years. She's one of my clients. Her husband had been working with me. We had put a ton of money away over time, earned a ton of money, did everything right, all right? So she was able to, I don't know if anybody knows this about cancer, but cancer has become so evolved in the study of cancer that you could actually take your actual cancer. They could take, if you have the money, they could actually take those cells, all right, could actually put them on the side and actually create a chemo treatment for you with the cells they took from that cancer. It's up and coming. Cancer research is always evolving, of course. Do you know how much each one of those chemo treatments cost for her? Anybody? 200,000? No, it wasn't that much. $26,000. $26,000 out of her account every chemo treatment she had. She was given 3 months. It's a year and a half later. Okay? So although money doesn't buy, money money doesn't always buy health. It could give you opportunities for greater health, and that's why I share this story. Now, let's go on to brighter things. I need 3 volunteers, and since we're a small room today, it should be really simple. And I bear gifts for those volunteers. So who wants to be my first volunteer? They got to be good with the calculator. Okay? Here you go, ma'am. You get a participation gift.
Thanks.
And a calculator. Who, volunteer number 2? Anybody? You, ma'am, right there, laughing? Let's get over to you. All right. I'm going to give you and you both.
Perfect.
And you're going to hold this number, and you are going to hold this number. Okay? And your names?
Silky.
Silky and Cynthia. All right. Fantastic. Thank you. All right. Let's get some audience participation in this room. All right. Realtors, right? All right. I need everybody to stand up when I say to stand up for this particular reason. Anybody who works 20 hours or more in real estate, and that means picking up phones, that means taking calls at night, showing houses on weekends, 20 hours or more, but no more than 20 hours, please stand. Okay. 40 hours or more. It's okay if you work part-time too. I mean, you could stand. Don't be embarrassed. 40 hours or more. Do me a favor, please stand. Great. Okay, we have some workaholics in this group. 60 hours or more. Please stand. Should we sit down if we're... Nope, just keep standing. Okay, that's a worker. 80 hours or more? Nobody. Okay, so the other people aren't realtors? How about your jobs? Nothing? You're working that many hours, I presume, right? Less than 20 hours. You're my hero. Okay. Keep standing. Keep standing. Okay. If you stood, all right, at 40 hours, Silky, do me a favor. What is that number right there that you have?
7,680.
That's how many hours a 40-hour work week times 4 times 12 equals of your life working, okay, a year. 7,680. Cynthia, what's your number? 83,200. If you work over 40 years, okay, at 40 hours a week, times 12, okay, times 40 years, you have given 83,200 hours of your life to work. And what do you work for? Money? To build wealth? Be happy, right? Okay. Can I have somebody with a calculator? Does anybody work more? The person with the calculator. Your name, ma'am? Vanessa. Anybody work more than 40 hours a week? Anybody?
I do.
How many hours, sir?
Me?
Yeah.
About 65, 70 hours.
Okay, we got a winner in the room. I will get you one of those. Do me a favor. Take 70 hours, times it by 4, times it by 12, times it by 30. Equals 100,800. Sir, that's you. 1,800 hours of work for you and your family, right? Okay. Now everybody's still standing. 83,000 just for this gentleman. Excuse me, 100,000 just for this gentleman. 83,200 for most of the other people in this room. All right, that's hundreds of thousands of hours. Now, this is the point where we're honest with each other. All right? Everybody who spent 10 hours or more financial planning, doing some sort of planning, not with a financial planner, just budgeting, just doing simple things, okay? 10 hours or more, remain standing, everybody else sit down.
In what period of time?
A year. A year. You spent 10 hours? Okay, so we have how many people standing? 3, maybe 4, 5, okay. How about 20 hours or more? Anybody? Down. 20 hours more? Doing some sort of financial planning, budgeting, something to the expenses? 30 hours or more? We're down. Okay, we're down to nothing. All right, you ladies could sit, you could say. So the fact of the matter is, the people that, right here, Cynthia, and I'm sorry, your name again? Silky, are the winners in the financial planning, and that gentleman back there is the winner of working. But 7.6 hours, okay, of planning, all right, represents 1% of your time working. Or it doesn't even represent 1% of your time working for most people here. Now think about that. What are we working for? We're putting in hundreds of thousands of hours. You know why? Because we're too busy, right? Or we think we're too busy. It's just like me. I need to lose 15 pounds. I'm too busy to go to the gym. Okay, I'm really not too busy. It's an excuse. So the point being is, how could the third most important thing being wealth is the thing that we're spending the least amount of time doing? Doesn't make sense. And that's why we're here today. All right? So I have a question for you. I mentioned a few things. Does anybody know why people don't do financial planning as a whole? Why they spend such a small percentage of their time doing it?
They don't know anything about it.
Okay. It's over cumbersome, right? Anybody else?
I think they're so busy making it, they don't have time.
To make the money work for you, right? So you're busy making the money, right? But you don't have time to make that money work for yourself, right?
Yeah.
Okay, that's a great reason. How about it's not the right time? Does anybody think that? Anybody? Right? I don't have enough money right now, so it's not enough
I
time.
think a lot of my clients think that way.
Yeah.
When I ask them to buy investment property,
Uh-huh.
we don't know how to buy it, we don't have money. I say, don't worry, you don't need enough money.
Right. Don't have enough time, right? I'm too young to start. I'm too old to start. There's never a bad time to start planning for your future or planning for the now or spend 1% of your time, 8 hours a year, okay, which is 1% of what the average person works. That's what we do, all right? That's where we came into Keller Williams, all right? Keller Williams, along with the Digregorio group, teamed up to help you folks on this journey. You don't have the time. It's overwhelming. There's too many options, all right? These are the things that I hear every day, all right? So, it bears the question, why are we not doing it? You've answered that. Now, let's bear the question of why us? Why Ameriprise? Okay. I'm going to show you this form right here. And this is why us. This is why we started with Keller Williams. This financial plan was written in 1976, 4 years after the year I was born. Okay, this is one of the first. If you look into it, these are the numbers. This is old DOS computers, right? Okay, and it was handwritten out, all right? This was a decreasing insurance policy. They don't have things anymore. But this was done in 1976, way before my time. I was 4. Ameriprise was actually the pioneer of financial planning. Fidelity and all of the other firms right now are catching up, all right? They're understanding that financial planning, it's not about the investments, it's about the journey. Everybody has investments. Every firm you deal with, we're commoditized. Okay, the thing that we have playing right now is actually from a client, believe it or not, that just sent this in, which I thought was beautiful. So this plan we started doing, we've been planning for so long, and now everybody is catching up to us. Now, our why, which Jack got me, my nephew got me a clicker today. So this is my first clicker. Now, hold on, I'm going to flick it over. Digregorio works to inspire a more confident future for clients through collaborative advisory experience, integrity, and our clients' interest is in our highest mission. Okay? Regardless, and I think that's it. If you're not planning with us, you should be planning with somebody for your financial future. You owe it to yourselves. You owe it to your family. All right? You owe it to the people that you love. All right? I've seen in my 23 years, I have seen people not title an account correctly, all right, and it's titled joint instead of transfer on death, and they get stuck in probate for 8 months, and they spend $30,000 on attorneys. I just had a client in Nassau, New York, who his father passed. He was an older man, 91 years old. His name was Norman. He was my client forever as well. His son takes over, but he takes over 3 properties. Now he's taking care, I don't have to tell you folks how much that cost. 1 in Northport on the water, okay, 2 others. And he's caring for all these properties. Where's the money coming from? His money's stuck in probate. And this was an attorney who didn't think about it, all right? So titling accounts correctly, making sure your wills and trusts. I know you're not going to raise your hand, but someone's had small children. We didn't want to go have that discussion. When my kids were small, I have 3. I don't want to have the discussion with an estate attorney on who takes my kids if something happens to us. It's a hard conversation to have. That's what we have experts for, okay? Accounting, you're all business owners, all right? I know you love paying taxes. I know you love it, okay? But is your accountant proactive or reactive? And what I mean by that is he taking last year's return, taking your new papers, putting them side to side, filling in the numbers, and handing you a bill. That's 95% of the accountants out there. The other 5 are proactive accountants. Those are the accountants that are calling you through the course of the year and saying, John, how much are you making this year? Are you up or are you down? Okay? John, did you think about a SEP IRA? John, did you think about a Roth IRA? Do you have employees? Do you think about a defined benefit plan? This is how you could save on this. Can I speak to your advisor and see if you have gains in the brokerage account this year or losses? Can we offset? That's a proactive accountant. That's who we hire. All right? We hire proactive accountants that can either work as your account or work alongside your accountants, okay, to add value. All right, so these are some of the professionals that we have. Certified financial planners across the board. So all I could say is this. If you don't do it with us, do it with somebody. Planning is one of the most important things you could do in your financial lives. And we are so busy working 100,000 hours through the course of our life that we are not taking 10 hours a year, 10 hours a year to make sure our financial house is in order. And it is too overcumbersome. There are too many options, okay? If you try to figure it out on the internet, it's going to be challenging, okay? So you have to take that step. Now, where we come in, okay, is we don't want the assets. Don't get me wrong, we'll take the assets. Okay, we're asset managers. But the fact of the matter is we come in from a planning standpoint, all right? So we're not the typical financial advisors. I know one gentleman here, Tom, was talking to me that he had a financial advisory background. They're not in financial advisory, but in firms. And they're all about the assets, right? Tom, bring in the assets, bring in the assets. It's not our thing. Our thing is we want to help you plan for those assets, okay? And if you hold them with us or you hold them with somebody else, that's fine. All right, so I want to thank you again for your time today. I want to thank Rob. I want to thank Marc for having me today. And I hope at least you owe it to yourselves to either call us, and if not us, call somebody, all right, and start getting your financial house in order. We all have to do it on a regular basis. Or we're literally just working and we're just throwing dollars away. Okay, thank you for your time. Appreciate you. Oh, sorry.
So one thing I wanted to touch on is, I know the real estate market right now might be a little scary, frightening, because there's not as much inventory out there. I worked on Wall Street, and I know Chris can attest to this too, but I worked on Wall Street for 20 years before I came into the real estate investment world. I've been through 2 major bear markets, and it's probably one of the scariest things that are going on out there. And the one thing that you can't do is let that fear control you. You have to just keep working and doing what you do. And this is something you guys probably know. I don't know if you guys been in the business 5 years, 5 minutes, or 50 years. But one thing that realtors, any salespeople really have to do when it gets tough, you have to keep working and keep doing what you were doing before. Don't lose sight just because it may not be as rewarding. It may not be, your bank account may not be as full as you want it to, but what you're doing now, especially in the slower times, is going to show off 6 months to a year, 2 years. When the real estate market does pick up, that's when you're going to see some of your biggest rewards. And I'm not here for Keller Williams. I'm not a coach for Keller Williams. I'm just speaking on what happens in downtrends when markets aren't doing well. You have to buck down and keep doing exactly what it was you were doing. In 2007 or 2008, during the credit crunch, I had a business partner. I was on Wall Street. We were watching the markets. I think it was April something 2000. I think it was 8. Market was down 1,000 points that day. It was the most it's ever been down, but ever. At that point, it was ever. Now it's a common thing, 1,000 points. But at that point, it was the most. There was a gentleman in the office behind me. He was top producer. I mean, I was probably top 5 or 10, but I always sat on the floor with my guys. This guy comes running out on the floor. So Costomiris, that's my last name. Costomiris, what do I do? I'm like, I don't know. Just don't relax. My business partner, I had a full seminar thing built out, 6 months to a year. I just had a baby. We bought an investment property. 6 months later, I bought a house. And, right now I'm seeing my business just go to nothing. All my stocks, all my clients' accounts cut in half in one day. And my business partner goes, we have to stop doing these seminars and we have to go back to cold calling. I sat there, I didn't make a rash decision, and I said, no. No. We have to keep moving forward with exactly what we had planned. I know it's going to cost money. I know it's going to be a lot of time. It's going to take us away from the office, but we have to do it. That year, I raised more money than I had ever had in my entire career leading up to that. My book was back to normal by the time all that money came in, and everything was fine. I literally came home from work. I don't know if it was that day or that week. We just moved into a beautiful apartment in Edgewater, New Jersey, right on the Hudson. Just had my daughter. We were pregnant. I forgot. My wife will tell you exactly what it was, but it was not good. And I said, just give me 5 minutes to my wife. I go, I need 5 minutes. I went out on the balcony. I was smoking a cigar. I was drinking a glass of Sambuca. And I'm just sitting there. I'm like, oh, God. So I come back in. I'm like, all right, I'm good. My wife goes, well, what does that mean you're good? I'm like, I don't know. She goes, well, when are we going to see money coming in again? I go, I don't know. And she said, what do you mean you don't know? I'm like, I don't know. I'm like, we have money saved and we're good for now. And she's like, but what's your plan? I go, my plan is to keep doing exactly what I was doing. I'm not changing anything. Don't you think you should change it? I'm like, no. Now I have 2 people telling me I should change it. So I didn't change it. And like I said, my business was back up and running. Didn't sell any stocks for anybody. Nobody lost anything due to that. And I raised more money than I'd ever raised in my entire career. And at that time, I was in the business probably 12, 15 years, something like that. So it wasn't a small amount of money. It was a decent sized money. So basically what I'm telling you, I'm not here up here to tout myself. It's basically keep doing what you're doing. Do what you did before. I'm sure a lot of you had a good year in the real estate world. Keep doing exactly that. Maybe do more if you want. And I'm not telling you to work more hours. I'm not telling you to go out there and bust your butt even more than you are to get less money. But what I am saying is don't slow down and don't change what you're doing. Don't let your emotions rule you. And again, I swear to God, I'm not a coach for Keller Williams. I'm getting myself going just talking to you about it. But with that being said, I like to bring up our next, one thing, it's something I should have said before Chris. It's one thing I've learned through my career working on Wall Street, and dealing with Chris and everything is you guys bust your butt. And I know he said this, and there were some crazy numbers being thrown about hours worked. you want to make your money work for you. I mean, like, it's times like this where a lot of people, and don't raise your hand, don't shake your head or anything, that I'm sure you're like, well, you know what? I wish I saved a little bit more. I wish I didn't go out. I wish I didn't go on that vacation. Don't do that. Don't do that to yourself. Make your money work for you for the future. The best time to plant a tree was 20 years ago. Does anybody know when the next best time to plant a tree is? Exactly. So don't worry about what you did in the past. Just get moving with whatever it is, and even we hope it's with Chris, but if it's not, at least with somebody, and make your money work for you the best you can. And this way, so that if something like this happens in the future, you don't really have to sit there and question what you're doing, question how hard you're working, or question how much you're putting into it. So, and then Sean and everybody at Keller Williams won't yell at you too. So with that being said, I'm going to bring up the next guest, my business partner, founder of MIOYM. MIOYM Equities is a distressed asset real estate investment firm. Basically what we are is we're a fix and flip firm. We allow accredited investors to come in. We'll buy properties that are distressed, like 60%. We actually have a technology that goes out there, finds these properties across the United States, about 38 different states that we find them in. We only look for properties that are depressed 50 to 60%. Pops up on our screen. We have our analysts analyze the properties. We have debt institutions come in, give us 90% of the money. The capital stack that we don't cover is what we ask investors to come in alongside us and provide. Each property is about $50,000 to $80,000. There's less, and then there's more of recent, and we'll get into that in a second. There's been a lot more properties that have been a lot less. So our investment size has kind of not so much come down, but it's a little bit easier to get into some properties. For allowing us to use your funds, we will give you a 17.5% return for a 12-month hold. We're going to get into all that, and this isn't a sales pitch to work with us. He's here to kind of talk to you about the value of fixing and flipping as realtors. You guys are seeing properties all the time. You guys are seeing depressed properties. You guys are probably seeing deals like, oh man, I should get involved with this. It's a little bit easier than you think, although the work to do it is a lot of work, but it is easier, and that's what Marc is here to do. It's not to sell you on what we do, but to educate you on how to get into the fix and flip world. That being said, Marc Cox, he's the founder of MIOYM. He started out in Baltimore flipping row properties in 1999, anywhere between $30,000 and $50,000. In 2008, another credit crunch story, he saw a need for properties that were depressed, and he saw something that was coming. He actually made MIOYM an LLC, right? LLC. He actually made it an official company. Since then, he's successfully flipped over 600 homes. That's a conservative number. He doesn't count past 600 for some reason. I don't know why. Maybe we could ask him why. And now he runs MIOYM Equities, which is the investment side, MIOYM Properties, which handles the buying of the properties, the property management of all the properties in case we have to hold it to rent it. And then he also owns MIOYM Commercial Lending. He currently has institutional and retail clients investing with him. And since I'm not here to build him up so much, I'm like to bring him up. This is Mr. Marc Cox of MIOYM. It's going to be a little bit different. We're doing a little bit different than what Chris did. He doesn't have a real presentation. We're going to do like a little question and answer, and I'm going to lead the question and answer. If you guys have questions throughout it, although I'd like to save it for the end, if you do have a question, it's easy, quick. We like to get it out of the way now, and we'll get it out of the way. So, Marc, what got you into the fixing and flipping world? Buying properties, selling them off. What was the draw?
Good afternoon. First, thanks for having me. To that question, what got me into it? What got me into it, strange enough, was realtors, theoretically. I used to run a mortgage company prior, and in the mortgage industry, it's broken up into two worlds, refinance and purchase market. The refinance market back in this will give up my age, back in the 90s, was, you think it's tough now? Back then, the average rate was around 9% back then. So in order to try to diversify, we would, because the refinance market was kind of tough, we wanted to be able to control the purchase market. And the purchase market for the mortgage company for financing is dependent on realtors sending in their contracts. And we didn't want to wait on realtors. So because we didn't want to wait on realtors, we decided to buy our own properties to finance the mortgage company. So that's what got me into that part of it. I'm trying to keep my answers short because
We'd be here till 9 o'clock if you didn't, trust me. Do you see a value in creating a wealth or just growing your wealth, growing your money, having your money work for you in buying properties, fixing them, flipping them, even if it's short-term, long-term, whatever the case may be? Do you see a value in doing it, and do you see how your money can work for you, assuming it's not your only job?
I hope so, so yes. Taking a step back, you must diversify. You cannot put all your eggs in one basket, whether that's stocks, whether that's bonds, whether that's gold. Crypto, okay. So the point is that you got to diversify. So that's the first answer. You must diversify. You don't know when it's going to rain. You don't know when it's going to be sunshine. So you must diversify. That's number one. Number two, to properties that we fix and flip. So it's easy for realtors, right? It's easy for you to follow the trajectory as a realtor. You deal in the world, I deal with you too. So you deal in the world of being a buyer's agent or a seller's agent. You're a buyer's agent, and that means theoretically, what do you have to do? You have to be able to go locate buyers, hope they're pre-qualified, and then go with location, 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 right? Maybe they like it, maybe they don't, and you driving up and down for however long. That's your time. Time is valuable. On the other side, you could be a seller's agent, and the seller's agent, really good. You got the listing. If you're aggressive, you'll do some kind of marketing to bring in buyers. If you're not aggressive, you put it on the multiple listing and you're waiting for the buyer's agent to bring you a buyer. Either way, your time, you only have 24 hours. That's your time. So the reality of it is that, well, you have access to information. You're seeing, I wouldn't say deals, you're seeing assets come onto your multiple listing that you're seeing every day that you're sending to your clients. So why not take the position of, okay, part of me is going to do the day-to-day physical actions, physical movements, and the other part of me is going to allow my brain to make the money. And how's my brain going to make the money? I'm simply going to just look at this property. You're already running market values, so you could already see, okay, this property is worth, the people are selling for $100,000. The market value on it is $200,000. Theoretically, you're at 50% loan to value. So diversify. I hope I'm answering your question, but so the point of the story is that you want to diversify for your transactions and value add. That will allow you to be able to have both taking place. One is your time. You only have 24 hours in a day, and you've got to move into the space of allowing your money to make money. You know compounding interest. You know the world of compounding. So you want to be able to find appreciation, and you're controlling the information. You know what you're buying for. You know what you can sell for. In there is your spread.
When you find a property, and I'm going to get into how we do it, when you find a property, what's a percentage that you look to make on it? Now, I know it's a complicated answer. I'm just generally, what's a number percentage-wise that you look to make on a property? Now, I know there's less and I know there's more, but generally,
so for
what's that
us,
number?
we generally are looking at about 30 to 35% on the property. And that's based off of, again, simple metrics, simple math, simple information. That information is that you bought the property for, and I'm just using high numbers, reasonable. You bought the property for $100,000. The property is worth $200,000. Theoretically, that means you're at 50% loan to value. So lending, which you all are a part of when you're trying to get your borrowers financed, to after you get under contract and you're harassing the mortgage company. But the point is that you know that your loan to value is what is done. So theoretically, banks lend on fix and flip at reasonably 70% of ARV. So that means if you're at 70%, that's where you're all in, 30% is your gross spread, minus if you use a realtor to sell for you 66%.
Yeah, and you guys being realtors, you know that when you sell a house, or let's say you want to flip a house, one of the best ways for you to do it is to be the realtor on both sides of it. Not only are you making money on the house, but you're making money on the sale of the house. We obviously don't have that benefit. We have somebody in-house that handles that for us also, but you guys could also make money on both, more than one side of it, and make a little bit more money on it. So construction, you know, I've done 2 flips myself, but before I even met you. And I got to say that although it wasn't hard, it took up a lot of mental space. You're doing it on a grander scale. I think we have about 20 some odd properties in process right now. Can you tell us a little bit about that? Like, what's that like?
What's that like? So you had 2, it took up a little bit of your brain space. You can imagine, right? All
I
right.
said it took up a lot of my mental
Okay.
space.
So, okay. I hope there's no contractors in here because I don't need no problems when I leave. So, contractors are a different animal. Let me make sure I say that right. Contractors have a different mentality. Let's say that. All right. So, like anything else, you have to. So I'll back up. I apologize. All right, because I'm trying to answer the question to give your information so that you can move forward on your own, right, to deal with the situation. So
Let me ask this a different way. How do you manage several projects going on? And now I don't know if they're going to. I have no clue who I'm speaking to. You guys could be, you know, in the world of
Fine.
looking to flip 5 homes at one time. You might be doing 1 house a year. I don't know, but how do you? Because I know how much it took up, and I was working 80-hour weeks. How do you manage the headspace that it takes? And I see it on a day-to-day basis, so it's, you know.
So the quick answer is I compartmentalize. That's the quick answer. So I compartmentalize. And I sub-compartmentalize also, because remember, I'm running different operations. So once I'm in construction, I now break apart construction. And I break apart construction according to each state and according to each property. High level. Let's get into just being reasonable. So with construction, your first move, Rob said I should be trying to make sure I educate the teacher. So the first move on construction is that reasonably get 3 quotes, right? Reasonably. Let's just say reasonably. Get 3 quotes. That means that you don't have to know. You don't have to be an expert. But you can use 2 people against 1. You can use 1 person against 3 or 2. The point is that get 3 quotes. 3 people are going to tell you. If everybody's telling you the same thing, probably that's what it is. If everybody's telling you something different, then and all 3 give you something different, don't necessarily go with the highest. Don't necessarily go with the lowest. And it doesn't mean that you have to go with the middle. Your own reasonable intelligence will tell you, listen, when I turn the faucet on, it's not hot water, so something's wrong, right? Okay, so be reasonable with that part. The second part is, to your point, you do in construction and you are not a contractor, but what you are is a manager. You're managing your money, you're managing the time, you're managing the people's work. So if someone tells you, and everything is reasonable, don't make it more than it needs to be. If the person says to you, listen, we're going to get this done in 5 days, then that means you want to check up on the 3rd day to make sure that the 5th day is appropriate. If the person tells you it's going to be, whatever they tell you, if they tell you the dollar amount, then contractors, you don't want to put all your money out there. You want to be able to try to reasonably hedge yourself. What does that mean? You're doing construction. Construction consists of materials and labor. So that means you could take the time to find out what the materials cost is. You could go online. You could go to Home Depot, see what your cost is for materials. Now nobody can't deceive you. The labor, the same way that you might take a car and go to the Kelley Blue Book and see what your car might cost on the open market, is the same way you could go online and find out what's the labor rate to to hang drywall or to put down flooring. It literally is there. So it's just information. You going to find out the information. Take the time. It's your money, so you might want to take the time. So once you find out what it is that is required, you could then reasonably demand of the contractor from a position of strength. This is what I know. This is what it says. When will you do what you say?
So in the essence of time, I'm going to go through 2 more questions. So you buy the house. I know how we do it. We analyze the properties. We get comps from the multi-state MLS, make sure the comps are up to date, everything's good. We get the hard money to come in, finance us. We get the investors to come in, we close. From the day that you close, what's an estimate to how long your construction should take? Now, it may take less, it may take more, but what's an estimate to how long it should take?
Average of 90 days.
And would you say that that's good for New Jersey here as well?
It doesn't matter. I'm in top part of New Jersey, central New Jersey, southern New Jersey. New Jersey's all the same.
Yeah.
The point is that it takes 90 days because, one, you got to take into consideration the time it takes to do the renovation, and you have to take into consideration your inspections, right? You have to deal with an inspector, the city inspector, and that is time because you're not on the city inspector's time. So you got to think Murphy's Law, worst case scenario, that inspector will get to you. And when he gets to you, it doesn't mean that you're going to pass on the first go round. So you want to be able to be reasonable to determine a time frame.
Last question. You have to sell a property. It's the only way you're going to make money when you're flipping a property.
So,
Interest rates are rising. Mortgage rates are rising. There's no inventory out there. Do you see the real estate market slowing down? Do you see it picking up, staying the same? Like, how do you see it in either liquidating properties and also overall in the real estate market overall? I think it's
so
and by the way, if you get a contract, if you get 3 contractors that give you the same price, they probably work for the same person. Let's just call that what it is.
So, all right, so that's a double-edged statement, right? Because real estate it's a market, but if you unpack it, there is subclasses. So you can't just say real estate is going up or going down. Real estate might be going down on the office space, it might be going up in the residential space, it might be going down in the industrial space, it might be going up in the, so you can't say that. If you're talking about specifically just residential, and you're saying, okay, I have circumstances like the interest rates going up or whatever the case may be, and that's the way it goes, right? It doesn't change, it's cyclical, so you've seen this before. So the point is that you change your strategy, and your strategy, so which means that you're still going to see.
Do you see the real estate market going up or down in the near future, or staying the same? Residential.
That's a tough question, and the reason that's a tough question, you can't just give a one answer because that's perception. Who's to say? Who's to say that the real estate market is going up? Who's to say it's going down? For example, realtors might say, man, it's going down because I can't get anybody to buy because there's no inventory. I'm on the distressed asset side. It's going good for me because I'm buying right from the banks that's distressed. So you can't say, that's not a reasonable question. I think if you change it and you say, well, okay, how am I moving? And that statement's going to be, what position are you taking? Are you taking the position to rent, refinance? Are you taking the position to sell? Are you taking the position to sell or finance? So you have multiple positions that you're allowed to take in real estate, good, because it's creative, before you just take a position of real estate's bad. No, that's not a true statement.
Good. Does anybody have quick questions, just so we could bring up our last speaker here? Anybody? Bueller? No?
Does that mean I did good? Because no questions.
It's either did really good or really bad.
Either way.
So that's Marc Cox. He has a previous engagement to go to, so he's got to run, but I will be here to answer any questions. Hopefully I could answer them as good as he did. It'll definitely be shorter, I'll tell you that much. We're going to bring up our next speaker. He's probably one of the more exciting ones compared to Yeah, Chris with money. No offense, Chris. I'm saying myself too. Tony Peck is he's called the godfather of Instagram. I didn't know this when I met him, had no clue. I just had lunch with him yesterday. When we were sitting at lunch, how many kids? 2 or 3? 4 kids came up to him in an hour, 2-hour lunch, and they said, "Hey, you're Tony Peck. You're the godfather of Instagram. Can we take a picture of you?" So, I mean, I don't know what that means, but he definitely knows social media. He owns Why Not You Media. He's a nationally sought after keynote speaker and co-founder of Why Not You Media. If you ever seen my promo video for MIOYM, and I could get it out to all of you, they did it. They were responsible for it. They're an accredited digital marketing agency in New York. And over the past 7 years, Tony has leveraged his 400,000 plus worldwide following on social. Sorry, I said 300,000, my apologies. To successfully help thousands of businesses across the country with digital marketing, online branding, and lead generation. He's here to kind of teach you how to separate yourselves from the crowd. Social media is a funny thing. It's not something where you're going to see something pop up right away and you're going to be like, oh, I want to sell my house with you, or oh, I want to buy through you, or I want to do this. I'm learning solely through him is that you got to put yourself out there. You got to keep going and make it consistent. And he's here to speak about how you separate yourself from the crowd and keep yourself relevant. So without further ado, Mr. Tony Peck, the godfather of Instagram. Thanks, pal.
Well, good evening, everyone. So I know you guys had a few speakers ahead of me that talked about how to build wealth through real estate. But today I'm going to be talking about how to build brand through social media that can help you grow your business. So it'll still make you wealthy, but a different way, right? So as Rob gave me a fantastic intro, as he mentioned, I'm Tony Peck. I'm the godfather of Instagram, co-founder of Why Not You Media. And he said a few accolades, but some other things that I've been featured on TV. I've been in Forbes, Yahoo, Entrepreneur, Market Watch, USA Today. The reason I say this is not to impress you guys, but to impress upon you. I'm a kid from the Bronx, okay? Come from very humble beginnings. My dad, union guy his whole life. And I started this business 5 years ago, accidentally, because I started building my brand online. And while building my brand online, people started reaching out to me, can you help me build mine? And I, of course, said yes. And 5 years later, here we are. We have a team of 13 amazing people. And like Rob mentioned, we get to travel the country. We speak to different companies and businesses on how to help their brands grow with social media. So I kind of want to get a baseline here about what you guys are already using on social media, and then I'm going to dive into what platforms make the most sense for you guys to utilize, what to post on these platforms, and then some little tactics to gain a little more engagement and potentially generate some business over time. So firstly, with a show of hands, who here utilizes Instagram, like actually posts on it? Just throw your hands up. Okay, good. Keep your hands up if you use Facebook. Okay, keep your hands up if you use LinkedIn. Okay, keep your hands up if you use TikTok. And keep your hands up if you use YouTube. Okay, good, nice. Respect that. You got all 5 up there, cool. You don't get anything, but. So those are the 5 main platforms you guys should be on. And I'm going to break down each of those platforms and why you should be on those and what you can kind of expect to gain from each of those platforms, especially in the industry you guys are in real estate. I'm going to speak specifically at your guys' industry. So that first platform, of course, Instagram. Every single person in this room, your hand should have been up when I said Instagram if you're in business looking to generate leads and sales and build your brand. Instagram is going to be your main platform. Okay, it's a fantastic platform to build a brand, create a community, which obviously then creates relationships where you can take from online to offline to then do business with them. And it's also going to be your general hub of inbound inquiries. Okay, now, next platform you guys should be on is LinkedIn. Now, LinkedIn is typically known as a professional platform, but everyone forgets who the #1 user on LinkedIn is. It's people, it's just straight up people. They need to buy, they got to sell, they're people too, okay? Everyone's like, it's professional, I don't know if, no, they're the same consumer you guys are looking at, they just dressed up a little nicer on LinkedIn, that's the only difference. And the great thing with LinkedIn, all social media platforms are businesses. And these businesses are competing for our attention. Every platform wants us to stay on just their platform for the longest period of time. So LinkedIn, not being one of the top 10 platforms like an Instagram or a TikTok, they will give you more reach by utilizing their platform. So it's a great platform where you don't have to have a crazy amount of connections, and you can post, and they'll give you a little extra exposure more than who you actually have connected with you. So you guys should be on there putting out content, building that brand on there, and building some connections as well. But again, for LinkedIn, I use it as brand awareness. I take the same video I make that I post on Instagram, that I post on YouTube, that I post on TikTok, that I post on Facebook, and I post it on LinkedIn. And we're going to get into that type of thing because, again, at the end of the day, guys, I want this to, you guys have to understand how important this is for your business. But if you do it right, it does feel like it's its own full-time job. So I kind of want to give you guys a few things to take away that will make it a little bit easier for you guys to actually do and stay consistent with. Because that's the biggest thing. You guys can leave this room and do nothing. It's not going to do anything for you. You can leave this room and try this for 2 months. It's not going to do anything for you. You can leave this room and try this for a year, and it still might not do anything for you. But you got to keep going. I didn't make my first dollar on social media until about year 2.5. Well, now, luckily, I went through that, so I can teach you guys how to accelerate that a little faster. But the reality is, it should be when you guys start on social media, your guys' goal is to never get off of it. It's just like back in the day, you had the newspaper, TV, radio. And those were extremely expensive to advertise on. Social media is free. It's just your time. And if you don't have time, you probably have a few bucks in your pocket, hire someone to manage it for you. We don't do management. We consult people on how to manage the right way. But you guys can find an intern or an admin or a virtual assistant. Then you hire a company like us. We come in and we train that individual on the things that they should be doing. Here's their sheet of what actions should be done every week. And you guys hold them accountable. So that's a way to mitigate it. Another thing, too, there's different things like scheduling softwares. Okay, you guys can pay for these softwares. They're $20 to $50 a month. And you can go on, you can take one video, and you can blast on every platform you want to post it on. And you can post multiple videos in that, set it and forget, you don't have to worry about it for the entire month. And you know every week, 2 or 3 videos are going to go out on a weekly basis. And you already covered it. It's good. Okay, so there's things like that where you guys got to start to realize that it's possible to do. And going to that point with LinkedIn, I take the same video that I have, and I post on all those platforms. So you guys don't have to make different videos for each platform. I don't want you to think that. If you make 5 videos, you got 5 posts on 5 different platforms, which is really 25 posts, but it's only 5 pieces of content. So I want you guys to start thinking in that way, because a lot of people are like, oh, I got to make different content. You don't. It's okay. Every audience on these platforms are different. Even if I have you guys following me on all 5 of those platforms, it doesn't mean you're going to see that same post on all 5. You may only see it on one of those platforms. But if I only post on one, it's giving me less of a chance to get seen by you guys. So that's kind of the mentality you guys want to have. You guys are a media company that just happens to sell or buy real estate with clients. Okay, that's going to be the goal by the end of this talk today, okay? So the next platform past LinkedIn is Facebook. But not your Facebook business page. The page is dead. You got to pay for ads to be able to generate reach that way. What people miss the mark on is utilizing their personal Facebook page. I'm sure I can just see, just by everyone's age in the room here, you guys have had Facebook for at least 8 or 9 years. That's a lot of years of a lot of real people that you guys actually know. And one of the biggest things that I've seen happen with realtors, they go to Thanksgiving dinner, their Aunt Sally just bought a house, but not with you, because she forgot what it is you did. Because it's not her job to wake up every day and remember who it is you are and what you do, right? It's your job to do that. So you're not utilizing your personal Facebook page where you have the warmest market possible. That's just a central reminder for everyone that already knows you, what you're doing, what you have in the development. Maybe you guys throw a property you guys have as a listing, and a friend of yours is like, oh shit, I would love to buy that. But if you guys didn't put it out there, they'll never know, because again, it's not their job to remember. So you want to stay front and center to that warm market. So Facebook is super critical for that, the Facebook personal page, okay? If you guys are using the Facebook business page, you don't have to. If you guys are doing it where you're posting on Instagram and it automatically goes to the business page, you can keep doing that. Don't worry about that. But don't spend much more time on Facebook business page outside of that, okay? Then you have TikTok. Now TikTok, you guys want, Tony, I'm not going on TikTok. I'm not dancing. I don't want to do that type of stuff. And that's okay. I'm on TikTok, and you guys can see my page. I don't do any dancing. I do the same videos I do on Instagram and LinkedIn and Facebook. I educate, I give value, I give knowledge, I motivate, and I do a lot of cigar reviews. And we're going to dive into the type of content, too, in a little bit. But the point here is TikTok, you don't need to be doing these trending dances, okay? You can do whatever fits your brand on the other platforms and just post it on TikTok. Again, TikTok is going to be an awareness play for you guys. You may not generate much business out of it off the rip. Again, this is a long-term mentality. But over time, you guys are going to get more known. And then people are going to find you on TikTok. They're going to like you, your personality, and the knowledge you're bringing to the table. And they're going to go follow you on another platform. And it kind of all rinses and repeats. And a lot of people say, okay, TikTok has a younger audience. Well, they do. But Facebook started out just with college kids. And now everyone's grandmother's on Facebook. And now the college kids aren't even on Facebook. So every platform matures over time. And you guys might even be able to see it a little bit on Instagram if you guys have been on there long enough. It's definitely matured in the last 4 years significantly. Now a lot of older business owners are on that platform. So you guys want to have that same mentality where you're putting your flag in the ground earlier than other people, and then once the older people do come to TikTok, you're already there. You have the established brand. You're going to be the one that gets found. Not the new realtor that just started a month ago, but you've already been doing it for 19 months. So that's what you guys got to keep with you. Just like, again, same content, different platform. You're going to keep it going. And then the last platform, YouTube. Now YouTube, not what you guys are typically thinking with the long-form videos. YouTube released a feature on their platform called YouTube Shorts. And they came out with about 2 years ago, maybe a little less than 2 years ago. And it's their feature where it's for videos that are specifically 60 seconds or less. It looks just like a TikTok. It looks just like an Instagram Reel. That's exactly what it's meant to be. Competition to Instagram and TikTok. So what you do, again, take the same video, post it on YouTube Shorts. Again, it has to be 60 seconds or less. which, as we all know, people's attention spans are very short in today's time, so 60 seconds or less is more than enough. And also, when you guys are doing 60-second or less videos, you don't have to give all the information away. You give high-level things that you're going to talk about, a few little tips and tricks and details, and then you want people to say, that's interesting, but I need to reach out to them to find out more. You don't want to give everything away because then they're going to have to contact you. So YouTube Shorts, okay, the reason I'm so bullish on this right now, it's a newer thing to the scene. YouTube is owned by Google. And what Google started doing this year is, if I post a video about how to buy a house in, I don't know, Freehold, New Jersey, let's say, right? And I Google that, and I made a YouTube video titled that video might pop up in that person's Google search. That's free SEO for you guys. So there's no reason not to be putting your videos on YouTube Shorts as well, because again, that's one of those platforms that they're pushing that reach because they want the consumer to be there more than Facebook, the Instagram, and the TikToks of the world. So me, for example, I don't have many subscribers on YouTube. I got about 230. I post, I'll get 4,000 views. You don't get that with Instagram anymore because Instagram already has the population. So they're not going to give you guys extra reach. YouTube wants you guys. So again, they're going to be a platform that's going to give you guys more reach. So they're incentivizing you to use the platforms. So get on there as well. So those are the 5 main platforms. Okay, now the next thing is, I'm going to talk about a little bit content, what you should not be posting and what you should be posting, or at least thinking about what to post. Now, everyone in this room, we're all consumers. We all buy specific things. We all buy different things, different industries. We all consume. And typically, we buy from people that we know, like, and trust. And that's got to be your guys' goal to put across on social media. That's how I was able to build a business. I put out who I am day in and day out, and people got to know about me. As the more they got to know about it, they either liked me or they didn't like me. If they liked me, they stayed and followed. If they didn't like me, they bounced off the page. And that's okay, because that's not my target customer anyway. And then over time, they build a little trust as they get to see what you're doing day in and day out, repetition after repetition. They're trusting you more and more. Then you're going to be showing more about what you're doing. So they're going to say, wow, I really feel like I'm part of that person's journey. So content-wise, this is one of the worst things I see every realtor do. You post just listed, just sold, open house, under contract, those graphics, right? Those flyers, deadly sin. Those posts should never be posted on your Instagram feed, on your Facebook feed, on your LinkedIn page. I should never see those anywhere, except for your Instagram story. That's okay. You can post them on your Instagram story, only up for 24 hours, and then you make a highlight on your Instagram page for each of those little categorizations I just said. Open house, just listed, just sold. Throw them on the story, you save them on your highlight, boom, they're in your highlights, that's it. Now your feed. This is the type of content you guys have to start thinking about making. Today's time, video is king. If you're not putting out video, you're going to be left behind because right now, all these platforms, photo-wise, the ones that even accept photos, YouTube, you can't even post a photo. But on Instagram, Facebook, even TikTok, you post photos, they're not going to give that content more reach. They're only going to let it get seen by a very small percentage of those that already follow you versus video. Video, they're going to post your content in front of new people as well as those that follow you. So the only way to get really seen by new people by actually putting out content is it being video content. So I might be thinking, Tony, what the hell am I going to talk about? Because I don't have many things I can talk about. Well, one, every single one of you guys in this room, you're in real estate, that should be one of your pillars, okay? We call these pillars of content. You figure out what your pillars are. And your pillars have to be based on you, who you are, what you do, and what you enjoy, and also what you know. So one, for all you guys, real estate tips. 3 things to do when buying a house. 3 things not to do before buying a house. How to pick the right realtor, how not to pick the right realtor, right? Things like that. Real estate related. Talk about towns, cities, wherever you guys sell, whatever you specialize in, different programs. Educate. This is your opportunity to become an authority in your industry online. Now, even if all of you guys in the room did the same exact topics day in and day out, you're all going to have different consumers gravitate towards you because of your mannerisms, your body language, your tonality, your personality. You're going to attract the people that want to work with you. And the most powerful thing is now, you guys are going to start generating leads that already like you. Imagine that. Sometimes you're dealing with leads that you're just getting because it's a referral from someone and they don't really know you. And then when they actually meet you, you guys aren't the best fit, but you guys make it work because it's for business, right? But with social, they're pre-qualifying you before you guys even have a conversation. So they know if they like you or not, and they're going to keep on following along your journey. So your first pillar for everyone here, real estate, okay? Real estate tips and topics. Now, I'm going to get a little more personal about what I pick as my pillars of content, and then you guys really kind of got to start thinking about what would make sense for you. Because again, it comes down to the individual person. And this is what we do with a lot of the consulting sessions. We sit down and figure out what makes the most sense for that person. Because everyone here is unique. I see the guy in the corner, you have a Top Golf hat, right? So maybe he likes golf. That could be one of his pillars of content. Talking about different golf things. Maybe he just likes golf players. You talk about golf players, right? You talk about, hey, I'm a 25 handicap. I'm trying to get a 10 handicap. Watch my journey. I'm going to post once a week about me taking 10 swings a day, right? That you can post as content. That's okay, right? That's about you. That's you as the person. And now again, you might be thinking, well, how's that going to attract people that want to buy real estate or work with me in the real estate industry? Well, if they like golf and they see your golf content and they start to follow you because of that, and they also know you're a realtor, they're going to go with the realtor they're most comfortable with. And they're going to have some level of assimilation with him because, oh, I can talk golf with him. It breaks that barrier, right? Like when someone's a Yankee fan and you guys get together, oh, you had that layer of rapport already. That's what you guys are doing by being a little more personal and social. So for me, for instance, I love cigars. So I do cigar reviews. Quick, digestible. I do a lot of cigar meetings as is. So I said, why not take what I'm already spending time on and making it to content I can post and distribute out to the masses to help people. And that's what I started doing about when Reels first came out. So this is like 3 years ago now. But the cigar reviews have gained me a lot of free cigars and a lot of conversations with people that smoke cigars, who also typically own businesses. So it's been fantastic. Tone, let's grab a cigar. Tone, what do you think of this cigar? Tone, I'm going to a bachelor party. What cigar should I get? And all these questions start to arise, and the commonality is you're connecting online, but then, hey, let's go grab a cigar. Now we're connecting offline. And that's where the real business is happening, right? So you guys want to think about what's that level of personality you guys can bring to your page that's different. Maybe it's wine reviews, shoe reviews, like I said, different towns. Maybe you guys are foodies, go to different restaurants. Or maybe you know a lot of business owners. Do an interview series once a week, stop by a local business, 60 seconds, take Mike, who are you, what do you do, and how long you been here? Boom, that's a pillar right there for you. Okay, so you guys really want to think about what makes sense for you. And you got to do something you guys like so you can stay consistent with it. Because again, consistency is the one thing I see the most fall off. You guys get so excited and maybe a month goes by, 2 months go by, 3 months go by, and you do 2 or 3 posts, and then you fall completely off. So let's speak on that. How many posts should you doing a week? Now, I'm going to tell you, you can post as much as you can handle posting consistently week in after week out for at least over a year. So if that answer is 2, you're only posting 2 times a week. But you make sure you post those 2 times a week. It doesn't matter if it's Monday and Thursday one week and then Tuesday and Friday the next week. Don't listen to its specific day and time that makes the most sense. It's nonsense. It's very minimal the difference it'll make by picking the perfect time. Okay, the time to post is when people are awake. Don't post at 3 in the morning, naturally, right? I typically post around 12 to 3 in the afternoon. I see you can check how active your followers are on different times. It's very minor, the difference, by the way, in the times. But I like to post around 12 or 3 or 6 to 8 at night. Those are my 2 time frames. So find what time frames work for you. That works for my schedule, by the way. Okay, so I'm catering to my day-to-day. So do the same. That's okay. If you guys have a slower morning and you can post 8 in the morning, great. You're posting 8 in the morning 2 times a week. Now, if you're like 2 times a week, I can do 3. Do 3. That's fantastic. But if you can't do 3, stick to 2, and it's okay. Because now, aside from those posts, which those are your pillars of content, the real estate, you pick out something personal. Maybe one of your pillars can be about family. For me, one's motivation. So I got like 4 pillars, right? You can have 5 pillars. You can have 3 pillars. The pillars give you guys an opportunity when you need to make content and you got to get a ring light and start making videos for yourself. And you're thinking, well, what 10 topics can I talk about? You're going to pull from the pillars. It's going to make it that much easier for you guys to stay consistent in making content, as opposed to thinking every time you go to film, what am I filming today? You don't know, because it's just a hodgepodge of different things. So stick to the pillars, and I'll help you guys stay more consistent long term. Now, past the pillars, the real opportunity to show people their day-to-day is on Instagram stories. Again, those are only for 24 hours. But it's really your chance to vlog your day. So if you guys I pass around my business cards, you guys will follow me on Instagram, you guys will start to watch my stories every day. And it shows literally my day-to-day. Like today, I stopped at 4 different businesses, we had 2 content shoots, and I had 2 meetings. You're gonna see all that. And then I'm gonna be here. I'm gonna take a little video before I get off the stage of you guys. And you guys will be in the video. That's part of my day. And now people get to feel like they're a part of your journey. So if you're doing this for years, like I had people that would follow me when I first started, before I even had the business. It was like 5 years ago. And they're like, wow, it's so cool to see how far you've come. And they've just been following me along the journey. I've never met them. They live in different states, but they referred me people over time because they've watched me and they see me grow. And they're like, this is so cool to see the day-to-day of what has built to where it is now. And you guys all have that opportunity to do that. Maybe you guys are mothers. Maybe you guys are fathers. You guys have kids. You have dogs. Show that, right? You're doing a daddy-daughter date, dinner. Post that. Tag your daughter. That's okay. Like you guys, if you don't want to show that, you also don't have to show that either. You get to choose as much as you want to show or as little as you want to show. But the more you show, the better it's going to be for you guys. Because again, the more you're putting out there, the more opportunity you guys have to build rapport from people that don't know you. And the more different things you give people to learn about you, they're having a more opportunity to actually connect with you on different things. So that's really powerful stuff with the stories. So again, the stories, they're only up for 24 hours, so show the day-to-day. And that's where, again, you can post the graphics and the flyers, all that good stuff. And the stories, you don't have to kill yourselves with what can I post on the story. It doesn't have to be perfectly edited. It can be raw. I do video selfies all the time on the story. That's okay. You can do reviews. Throw a review on the story. Do not throw your reviews on your feed. That's another deadly sin. I hate when people do that. Don't do it on the feed. It's just, again, it's a waste. When people come to your page, they're not going to want to scroll past all these reviews to find a video of who you are and what you're talking about, right? Reviews on the story, make a highlight for the review. Same thing. Same thing with testimonials and so on and so forth, right? So that's the type of content to put out. Now, I get this asked a lot. And there's really no right answer for this, but I'm going to give you guys my best answer. And the question typically is, Tony, what's the number one thing I can be doing to generate business and engagement on social media? And there really is no one key. It's really a combination of things. But if I had to give you guys one thing, this is the one thing no one does. You guys can be posting, but most people don't do this. This is what separates me, and this is why I've been able to grow a business this way. Engage. If you guys want more engagement, you have to engage more. It's social media. It's meant to be social. It sounds so simple, but it's not easy because it takes time. When I started this business, I would send out 200 to 400 DMs every single day. And that's how I got leads. And then someone would give me a chance to get on a phone call with them. Someone would let me walk into their business to meet them face to face. And that's how I built this business, one person at a time, 200 to 400 DMs a day. It's powerful shit because you guys have probably cold called in the past. You don't have much information on those people. You know their name, their number, their email, their address, right? Not who they are, not if they have kids, not if they just got married, not if they just bought a car. But if you go on Instagram and you find Sally, right, and you're looking at her page, you get to know about her before you send her a message. And you can see she just had a kid. So don't slide in the DM, hey, you looking to buy or sell, Sally? No. Congrats on the beautiful baby. I had mine 2 years ago. I recommend these diapers. That's it. Because they're going to go to your page and they're going to see who you are and what you do. You're selling yourself just by connecting with people. Everyone's going too quickly for the kill off the rip. Again, it's social media. It's meant to be social, and utilize it to build real relationships online that you can then take offline to work with going forward. And you guys can do this with referral partners. Maybe you guys need an attorney or an accountant or an insurance agent. Use social to connect with them. Or maybe you guys have those in your wheelhouse already. Use social to highlight them, and then they're going to post you to their followers. And now you guys are getting in front of a new audience. And that's another thing. With Instagram specifically, you have the new feature called the collab post. I don't know how many of you guys know about this, but the collab post is extremely powerful. And I highly, highly urge you guys to utilize it as much as possible where it makes sense. But the collab post gives you guys the chance to collab with one other Instagram account. And what that does is when you accept that collaboration, that post goes on both of those accounts' feed. And let's say this account gets 500 views, this one gets 1,000 views on the video, it shows that 1,500 views. So now if you guys are working with a local business, you want to interview the owner, and you know the owner has 5,000 local people because it's a fantastic restaurant in the area, and you have 500 followers, you say, hey, I'm going to come and want to interview for 60 seconds, I'm going to throw a video up, just accept the collab post, and that's it. Most people are going to say, yeah, no problem, it's extra exposure for them, everyone likes free publicity. They're going to accept, and you're going to get in front of their audience now, and new people are going to learn about you for doing nothing. That's powerful shit. You can, and me, you guys follow me, you're going to start to see my day-to-day and how active, and I'm very busy online, but I also do a lot offline. And that's kind of like my level of separation in my own industry, because most people in my business are only digital. I'm a handshaker. I go to events, I shake hands, that's what I do. I still could not shake as many hands as I wanted to day to day that I could do by posting on social media. The reach is endless. We were at Citi Field on Wednesday. I spoke at the New York City Real Estate Expo. And I had my videographer with me, he vlogged the whole day. And I was interested to see how many people I'm going to speak to. It was 3.5 hours of time. How many people can I talk to? I spoke to 99 people in 3.5 hours. That's a lot of fucking people. For perspective, that's one person every 2.2 minutes. I post on social media, I get 1,000 to 5,000 views on my story. There's no fucking way I can talk to 1,000 to 5,000 people. It's not possible. So should be exciting alone to you guys. Now, you guys might not be getting those numbers yet, but again, it's a snowball effect. I didn't get those numbers when I started. I had no one following me in the beginning, just like you guys. That's okay. You snowball going up the hill, but once you get to that peak, guys, you start coming down the other side of the hill, you guys start to get some fucking momentum, and then it gets real fun. And that's where I'm at right now, and that's what I'm trying to help you guys get to. And all I did, like I said, I did nothing different. I just put out who I was day in and day out. I'm an Italian kid from the Bronx. I smoke cigars. I wear tracksuits. I love jewelry, right? That's who I am, and it built my brand, and that's how I'm standing in front of you guys today. And you guys all have that same power too, because it's all at your fingertips. So I think I gave you guys a lot. I'm sure there's going to be some questions, so I'm going to leave a little time.
So I'm going to bring Chris up here, if you will. Does anybody have any, well, first of all, I hope you guys came away with, any of our three speakers, you came away with something, like anything at all. As little or as much as it was, I hope you guys came away with something. That was the main goal of this seminar, was to educate you guys to, hopefully you get something out of it. Does anybody have any questions, comments, concerns?
I know when you post a video, if you make video on a TikTok,
Mm-hmm.
when you put it on Insta, you will not get, because it's TikTok have watermark in there.
Great point. So do not, if you make a video on TikTok, because a lot of people like the TikTok editing software, right? First off, if you like the editing software on TikTok itself, the platform, you can download the app CapCut. It is literally their software. CapCut is the app. So going forward, make all the videos in CapCut and you won't have to deal with the watermark. But let's say you don't download that app and you're still using TikTok and you have the watermark. Do not post that video with the TikTok watermark on any other platform. Every platform has publicly said it's going to lower your reach on that platform if it's watermarked with another platform. So what you do is you go to Google and you type in free TikTok watermark removal. A website will pop up, and all you have to do is copy the link from that video on TikTok, paste it into the bar on that website, download, and it's going to give you the video right back with no watermark, and then you can post it anywhere you want.
Could I give an easier tip?
Sure.
I only know iPhone, but I know Samsung's a lot more high tech. All you have to do is save it and crop the video, and you crop the TikTok watermark out of it.
Could do that too, depending.
Yeah. You literally just bring it up, and it takes it right out. So
On a video.
he's a lot more successful at it than I am. So I would take his
Depends on the
advice.
video, because
Yeah,
if you're
yeah.
showing too much and you cut that off,
Yeah,
so
yeah.
it depends. But yeah, for most of the videos he's talking about, like because you do a lot of the selfie videos, so you're just cutting off a little part of his body, it's okay. But depending on the video, if you can't go that route, then do the software. But yeah, you could go that route. That's a lot easier for you guys too. But you got to make sure you wash it all through, because sometimes the TikTok watermark pops on the corner, then it pops up a little bit higher, and it goes back and forth. Yeah.
See, I just-
Yeah. So there you go.
So Tony, what kind of products do you sell?
Sure. Yeah, no, good question. So we sell four main things. So one of those, like I mentioned, is consulting. We do a lot of one-on-one. We do a lot of one-on companies, and we go dive deep under the hood. What makes the most sense for you? What you should be doing on social, what's going to be your plan of attack, what's custom to you, what content you can put out yourself, how to make your own content. We'll even teach you what lights to buy, what microphones to buy. If you want to do it yourself, we'll teach you. We'll also give you strategy on how to do digital marketing past social media. Your email marketing, website marketing, SEO optimization, text message marketing, everything digitally we can help with. That's one thing. Second to that, we can also create content for you. So if you wanted us to film for you and do videos, we have that bandwidth. We create videos, we sit down with you, we strategize what we're going to shoot with before we even shoot, so we're not showing and we're all guessing at the same time. It's going to be a game plan going into your content shoot. And then on every set, one of my business partners is on that set, and he's coaching and directing you throughout that shoot as well. So that's one of those things. Then past that, we do targeted ads online. Doesn't make the most sense for the real estate industry. We do this with a lot more service-based, product-based businesses, restaurants, salons, gyms. But we run ads on Instagram, Facebook, Google, LinkedIn, YouTube, and TikTok, depending on the business, whatever makes the most sense for them. Again, we sit down, we strategize, and then we do website development and redesign as well.
I just have one more question.
Sure, yeah, go ahead.
Okay, so Facebook, I think I'm pretty good. Insta, I have to follow people so people follow me back.
Yeah.
So when I see my people, I follow less and people.
You're following more than people are following you?
No. More people follow me a little bit, not too much. So
Okay.
how do I make that more people will follow me more than I do?
Yeah, so two ways. One, video content is going to push you to new people. The collab feature would be really helpful for you to get seen by a lot of new eyes in a shorter span. So think about videos that make sense that you can actually use a collaborator with, whether it's maybe your hairstylist. Maybe they have a small following. You can do a collaboration with them and you walk through their business, right? You're going to get seen by those people. So videos and collaborations. But secondly, engagement, like I mentioned. So I didn't really get too deep into the strategy, but engagement-wise, what you do is, let's say you go to someone's page, and you guys can do this every day, all through the week. That's what I did. Before I would DM those 200 to 400 people, I didn't just cold DM them. I would like 5 to 10 pictures. I would leave 1 to 2 relevant comments. I'd follow them, and then I'd DM them. And I would do it 200 times, and then 300 times. And I kept doing that. So do that. Go to someone's page, like 5 to 10 pictures, leave 1 to 2 comments, follow them, DM them. Now, if you have nothing to say, nothing to ask them in the DM, you can just introduce yourself. That's completely okay. Now, will everyone answer? Absolutely not, but it's okay. You're getting more hits to the page. Because even if they may not answer you back, they're going to see who the fuck is this? And it's driving more intention to the page, and the algorithm picks up on that. It's going to push your page slightly higher over time.
So you would do that 200 times, 200 different people?
Yeah, 200 different people. Yeah. Yeah. I had time in my hands. Business has changed since, so.
Any other questions? So we have an open bar outside. We have some light appetizers as well. You're more than welcome to engage with any of us out there. I know sometimes if you're like me, you don't like to ask questions in front of big crowds. I'm not the biggest fan of it. I always think my questions are the dumbest. I'm not saying you guys think that, but I'm just saying that's how I am. If that's the case, engage with us out there. You have a question?
Do you do the automation or not?
Oh, like video animation?
Automation.
Automation in what sense?
Like where automatically sends out like
Oh, no, definitely not. Don't do that. Yeah, it's physically going to each page, liking yourself, commenting something that you think is relevant to their post, and following them and messaging them. So if I message what's your name?
Sonny.
What is it?
Sonny.
Sonny? So I would say, hey, Sonny. I'd say, hey, Rob. Hey, Chris. Every single time. And I would tweak it based on the page. I know he has 2 kids, right? I'd mention that. I don't know if Chris does. Maybe I wouldn't mention that. So it would be very custom to that person, and the automation tool can get blocked on Instagram. So definitely wouldn't recommend that.
Doesn't that just take so much time though to
It does. But the conversion's a little higher when it's a lot more personal.
And if you work inside of groups that are based on your pillars, then it's like
let's say you're a mom, right, and you're attacking mom groups. That's you're in right there. Don't attack random pages. Like I would attack guys that I can see that smoke cigars, have businesses, have cars, have things that I have interest with that I can comment on, right? So you want to go to people that have a level of similarity with you because they're
So
going to
just-
build a little rapport with you.
Just touching on your question, Sonny, like, and I know what he said was 200 to 400 times, he's sending out DMs. It's a crazy number.
Yeah, that's not realistic for
I mean,
everyone.
like,
I know
I
that.
just saw the hours you guys were working, except for who worked 20 hours. That was you. You might have time to do that. But 200 to 400 times, that's crazy.
Yeah,
But
I'm not
if you do
recommending
1
it.
to 2 a day, just
like 10 a day.
okay, well, I'm just saying.
10 days real. Like that's not going to get you much. 10 people. Be realistic here, right?
But no,
I
you
can
do
fucking
10 a
text
day.
10 people a day.
Just
10 a day.
great
but-
dog, something along those lines. It's just
Yeah.
skim the surface and just do it slowly and just
Yeah.
do it randomly.
And-
you're probably on social media a good amount of the time of the day. You may not want to admit it, especially here in public, but if you're like me and you try not to go on it and you're still on it, I find myself at night, I'm just like, oh, what am I doing? Comment on things, just,
Yeah. Correct. You can just comment on
randomly.
things, like things. Like when I'm driving, I'm just liking. I'm not even looking at the phone. I'm just liking it like this. Thumbs just going, right? So that's one thing you can do, like boost engagement. But again, for that specific strategy right there, you can do it yourself if you have a little time, right? If you guys are a little more successful, you have to hire someone. Hire an admin, hire an intern, hire a VA, and you train them exactly who to find for you, what to say to them, and what to do. You tell them exactly what I told you. 5 to 10 pictures they're going to like. They're going to leave 1 to 2 comments. They're going to follow. They're going to send a message. These are the types of messages you can send. Always address the person by their name. And these are the types of pages you're going to find the people from. Go. And let them do it. The VA is going to cost you guys $2 to $6 an hour. They're probably going to charge you, I don't know, $150 a month. So that's what we do. We'll tell people, hey, get a virtual assistant if you don't have an admin or an intern. We'll train the VA. They're going to be on Zoom with you there. You're going to learn how to keep them accountable. And they're yours. Off to the races. Call us back if you want in a month, 2 weeks, 3 months, whenever you want. We're back to consult. But we're kind of giving you guys what you need to do to be able to keep the ball rolling yourselves. And I think like a good therapist, at some point, you don't need that therapist anymore. You go into like the next one. Same thing with a consultant. You shouldn't need us till the end of time. We should be able to give you as much as you can possibly have to be able to run with it yourself. And we can continually build upon things. Sorry, what?
How many therapists actually say that you're good to go?
Well, I'm not saying that they say it, but
They're a perpetual business. They're the first subscription-based business. So in the essence of time, I'm going to just cut the questions there. Feel free to ask us all the questions out there that you want to ask, that you don't want to ask in public, whatever. We're going to be out there. There's an open bar. There's food. I want you guys, if you have to get home, to get out of here. But I also want you guys to enjoy yourselves as well. Thank you for coming. I appreciate you taking time out of your day to listen to, well, me. Everybody else was more important, but listen to me. And I appreciate if you guys have any questions, feel free to email us, ask us out there, whatever the case may be. Appreciate you guys coming out.
thank you.